So there's what it's like after you remove those two bolts. The hold this on, there's these two that holds that little bracket, and then the cable management, and then these two bolts that hold the caliper on. And I was just looking at those, and it looks like I definitely need to get some new brakes. So yeah, that'll be done here before we put that back on. Put one of the bolts back in so I don't lose it and I know which ones go where. The other one I had to use to run the wire to hold it up there. Don't want it hanging by this hose by any means. So now the fender is loose on this side. Now I'm going to get the other side done and we'll be back. And the same thing. Went ahead and just unbolted the brake, the bracket mount for the cable. It's also loosened up the fender completely, so we should be able to just lift this right up out of here. Try not to get you motion sick. So I'm going to have to set you on the floor. Unfortunately, I didn't bring the tripod for this part. And there, so I just lifted the fender off. We got a whole lot of cleaning to do, but all in all, pretty easy. And yeah, pads on this side were pretty wore down too. You can see they're pretty thin. We'll get those replaced on both sides. Back braces are already brand new. So now we're pretty much ready to just take the wheel off, and that's just this Allen and this bolt, and then that axle should just slide out and then the wheel should fall off and we can roll it out because the fender's out of the way. And I'll be back when I get that done. And as you can see, I got that axle completely out. I did put it right back through the rim, and that's just so you don't lose those little bushings. Then we get the wheel out of the way. And those rotors are perfect. Don't have to worry about those. Now this set screw, yeah, it's still in there. It's loose, but I didn't take it loose enough where it just falls out and I have to worry about it. So now we can loosen up the bolts that are holding the forks on. There's this one hiding here, and there's two more hiding under here. I'm probably going to have to take this top tree off just because of this top tin being in between. It won't let the fork slide through, or maybe the fork will slide through the tin. I'll let you know. And then once the forks are out of the way, then the rest of it's just getting down here into the, well, it's got a little rubber cap over it. And I'm still kind of worried about those brakes. I think I'm over worrying it. I think, like I said, that piece of angle iron off the headlight, and then another angle iron going back the other way will give this plenty to bolt on. And it'll be underneath, it'll be hidden. Nobody will know it's there. Those are the wires for all the lights, just got them tucked back there out of the way. This brake line that's here in front won't matter because the fork's going to come off and be gone. And then when this comes off, this will already be hanging down, and then this will just slide out in between them, so that's no issue. Only thing, no, that'll be separate. Okay, we're good. So, got them loosened already. Not that they're really wanting to go anywhere. Oh, there we go. And then I just threw a blanket over the tank. Obviously the handlebars are going to be kind of laying on it. We don't want to scratch anything. So I just got that mover's blanket up there. And we'll be back. I got to quit saying that. I edit it all out all the time every time I say it. Anyway. Well, that was interesting. I didn't expect that. Something I never saw in any of the videos. there's these little pins up there, or holes, that slide onto these pins, and that's what keeps these from rotating when they're in there. And then to get that out of the way, you have this little part that's in between that I honestly don't know why it's there. It just sits in there, I guess, for tension. On the bottom of this, I just sat up against it like this. Anyway, won't be needing any of those again. Then you do have to loosen these three just a hair to get the fork to slide out. I haven't done the other side yet. You have to take them all the way out to get this piece tin off there. And this little band is what that sits on. So of course this is shiny, nothing ever touched that. This I'm going to take a little really super fine emery cloth and polish it up. You see there's a little bit of rust in here that was kind of holding it up a little bit. Yeah, so this one, as you can see, I still haven't done anything with the cables, so we're doing good there. So I'm going to go ahead and bust that other one loose. That'll give me room to free up my cables. And then this is actually going pretty easy. They say it's like a 2-hour job if you've done it before, 4-hour job if you've never done it. Yeah, I'd say they're right. Alright, well there was 2 castle nuts on the top there after I took that front riser triple tree off. Loosen them up. They were just, the top one was the one I had tightened. I didn't realize there was a second one below, but anyway, that one was just kind of finger tight. Loosen that up. This pretty much just fell off. I did unscrew the bracketry for the distribution for the front discs. They just screwed right there into those holes there, and that one. These 2 are for the headlight mount, and then the front 2 are for the turn signals. Those bearings actually look pretty good. I still have to get the race out of the bottom, get the top bearing and race out. I didn't expect this to just fall into my hand like it basically did. But yeah, and I'm no clue what that hole's about. But obviously it goes to the back. It's hollow, to where the new one I got is not hollow, it's solid. But I'm not sure why. It's actually not even centered. It's kind of off. If you're on the bike, that hole's off to the left. When we get that top race and everything out, we'll look down in that hole and see what's going on. Well, let me put this down. We'll just take a look now. Greasy thing. And here's the upper triple tree. Still has all the stack in there for the handlebars. Yeah, you can see that thing's just billet out, drilled out, whatever you want to call it. There's really nothing to it. I mean, it's just decoration on the top, more or less. I'm surprised it even had enough to hold the handlebars. No wonder why when these things get into accidents, these things just shatter. I hope to never experience that, but bottom one, however, is not aluminum like I thought. Well, I don't know, it's an alloy of some sort. But yeah, even it's, you know, it's pretty hollowed out. There's not much to it. I mean, I'd say it's not even an 1/8 inch. 1/8 inch at most thick. I don't know if you can kind of see that there. Oh yeah, about an 1/8 inch. Oh yeah, and then these 2 holes where the brackets went that held on the brake hoses here came into that distribution that went to the main part and then down to the calipers. But yeah, I'm gonna I gotta get this part cleaned up. We'll get to where, I gotta wipe my hands off, but we'll get to where we can look down into that tube, see what's going on, get those races out of the way, and then we'll bring in the new ones. I gotta look at those brackets. I'm probably gonna have to make something here. Yeah, these are the upper ones that just go into where the same thing where the risers bolt in, so that's no problem. It's this one down here. Those two wide holes go into the bracket I showed you, and then these two go into the distribution. It's from the handlebar coming down, hits this, splits it in and pushes it out to each disc brake. Yeah. Well, the new ones are aluminum, and I'm not sure what size holes those, actually those went all the way through, come to think of it. It's on the bottom, it's buried, nobody will see it. If I had to, I could drill it out and just put a nut and bolt on it on either side. But I think the L bracket coming off the where the headlight mounts, I think that'll work just fine. I mean, like I said, there's no weight to this itself. The calipers are held on. Oh, well, yeah, there's nothing hanging. Okay. Just want to make sure nothing's actually hanging on the hose. Alright, I'm going to get this cleaned up in here, get rid of some of this gunk. Get this little cap off. He's just sitting there covering the grease covered bearing at the top. I'm going to have to figure out a way. I might be able to just drop those down this way out of the way until we can get this cleaned up. But I'll get that cleaned. If the bearings and the braces just pop right out, I'm not going to show you. If I have to beat on them or go buy a special tool, I'll probably show you that. But for the most part, this one's sitting down there. You just put a screwdriver in, pound it out, put it on this side, pound it out, get rid of it. Flip it around, put it up here, pound this race out, and then you're done. Put the new ones in. With the new ones, what I'll do, I saw a trick on YouTube actually. The guy had a bolt that he put through here, no handlebars, no triple tubes or nothing, trees. He just had a couple of big washers and he just basically tightened it. And the washers were the really thick ones. I think they were like a 1/16, not quite an 1/8 inch thick. Basically he just squeezed the two races in there and they pushed it in flat. And I mean, you can see this one's actually set up in there. Now I also saw on YouTube where they use these old races to pound the other ones in. I don't know, we'll see how things go. Other thing I'm worried about is putting the bearings on the new triple tree. But looking at this one, it's kind of well, look, these can be heated if necessary. The shaft on the other one I can put in the freezer, so it kind of shrinks. I mean, it's not going to do a whole lot, but it shrinks when it's cold. And then the metal, when I set it outside in the sun, like on the deck rail, you know, about noon, 1 o'clock when it's 100 degrees out. I think lately it's been running about 97 degrees. A couple hours out there, and yeah, it should just expand enough, slide it over that frozen tube. Should go well. But yeah, unless I run into any issues, I'll just have this all cleaned up and I'll come back when I'm actually ready to start putting them together with the new ones. Alright, well, before we got too carried away doing anything, I thought I would actually kind of just do a brief comparison of these here real quick. And yes, this is the bottom. And this would be the part that's out, which is great. Matches the headlight mounts like I want it. They did cut this out for the lock, but nowhere for the turn signals, which we expected. No issues. But But then the bottom, those holes for mounting the brakes, the distribution and the cables, pretty shiny. And then these do not go all the way through. I like the idea that it would be nice and clean and finished. But I'm thinking we might drill these all the way through. Just drill it out. Put that L bracket on here. Make a spot for that distribution block for the calipers to fit. Or the distribution cable things. Not my first choice. Trying to think of any other way I could mount them. Honestly, not seeing it. Yeah, and this one is, it's quite solid. Unlike that one where I showed you, it's only like an 1/8 inch thick. It's a solid billet aluminum they CNC cut. You still see the machining cuts in there, I think. I don't know if I'm reflecting that enough for you or not. Still thinking about that one. I'm not bolting these up now or anything. I was just wanting to show you real quick. I'll show you the top ones here in a minute too. Alright, and then this is the top one. My hands aren't the cleanest, but now what they did do here to try to help on weight is they cut this hole in it. You'll see there's no holes here for the caps to come through. They have these screw ends that screw into the fork tubes, and then they screw into this. So there's also no lock screws to worry about. These are machined down exactly to fit the risers I have. And then the nuts and bolts are covered by this cap. Now this part is pretty straightforward. As I make a mess. Again, this thing weighs, I don't know, 5-6 ounces. It weighs about 7 pounds. Maybe 8 pounds. Big difference. Quality. The top will have no issues, and they're even the same thickness. Maybe a little thin. No, maybe a 1/16 of an inch thinner than up to here for those risers. I might have to stick a washer in there, but we'll see. Yeah, still cleaning up the other mess. I did kind of, it's not an issue, but my races are not like what I saw on other people's. Mine are like smooth as glass from the race to the stem. There's really nowhere to catch a screwdriver or a pry bar to just pound them out like they were showing on the other ones I've seen. So I'm gonna clean the grease out, so I stopped real quick before I got too greasy. Just clean all the grease out of there. Maybe I'm just missing it. But yeah, those are pretty polished inside there. I almost thought there was no races, but yeah, there definitely is. You can see them. Alright. Oh, the tube. I'll show you that too. Or not the tube, the stem bolt. This one again is solid. It's got this little cut out of it. Don't exactly know why. But it takes the place of where this one is. This one has just a hole that was off to the side. I don't know. I looked down in the stem, and I'll show you later when I get it all cleaned out. There's nothing that it slides on. I have no idea what that's for. But this is the part I was going to put in the freezer. Shrink it up a little bit, or as much as we can. And then the races, or not the races, the bearings, I'll put out in the sun. Get them hot. The races I'll test fit. If they're snug, I'll probably put them in the freezer too. Shrink them down a little bit. We all know how cold shrinks things. And then see if we can't get them in. But before I can do any of that, I gotta get those old bearing races out. And then we'll be back.